unemployed persons o bilang ng nasa labor force na walang trabaho o negosyo nitong Mayo 2022 ay nasa 2.93 million. Ang unemployment rate ay naitala sa 6.0% o 6 na po sa bawat 1,000 na individual.
Una, yung paglikha, creation ng more jobs and additional employment opportunities. Ayan po ay principal na dapat manggaling sa ating private sector, yung mga namumuhunan, the investors. And therefore, I think the challenge for us is to be able to really show that policies in place will be predictable, consistent, and then there is continuity.
From the nation's capital, all sides, all the time, I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Sean Yao. The big story tonight.
More Filipinos were either unemployed or out of business in May based on data from the PSA.
Tonight's big number, 2.93 million. That's the number of jobless Filipinos recorded in May, higher than the 2.76 million in April. This translates to an unemployment rate of 6%, up from 5.7% the month before.
The May figure also snaps 4 straight months of decline in the country's unemployment rate. According to the employment website JobStreet, 60% of Filipino workers lost their jobs or experienced salary cuts due to pandemic-related issues. Meanwhile, the underemployment rate also slightly increased month-on-month to 14.5% in May from 14% in April. This translates to about 6.67 million underemployed Filipinos. To give us their insights on the latest unemployment figures, we have with us on the show the spokesperson for the Trade Union Congress of the Philippines, Alan Tanjusay. He's joining us live via Zoom. Mr. Tanjusay, welcome to The Big Story.
Good evening, sir. Hi, can you hear us?
Thank you.
Magandang gabi po, Mr. Tanjusay.
Yes, I can hear you. Good.
Apo.
Magandang gabi, Robbie.
Apo, I mean, there were 4 straight months of bumababa yung unemployment, tumataas ang nagkakaroon ng trabaho. Akala natin tuloy-tuloy na to, especially now that the economy is starting to reopen. Ano po nangyayari sa tingin nyo?
Well, ibig sabihin, walang pumapasok na bagong investors. Yung mga bagong investments nag-create ng jobs. And besides, if you notice, April itong survey na ito, ibig sabihin, malaking factor sa mga nawalan ng trabaho itong mga manggagawa na tumulong sa mga kandidato during the campaign. No? So, if you notice, April ito, patapos na yung campaign season at malapit-lapit na rin yung national and local elections. That's why yung mga kandidato ay hindi na kinuha yung mga services ng kanilang mga manggagawa because patapos na yung campaign season at malapit na yung national and local elections. That's why siguro isa ito sa mga factor kung bakit mataas ang ating unemployment rate.
But very quickly lang po, if kung totoo po yan, does that mean that yung aabangan natin after the elections, May and June, and for that matter, July, we're expecting na lalong tataas pa ang unemployment?
Lalong tataas pa kasi by May, tapos na yung elections, talagang wala nang mga campaign at wala na tayong activities na related to the campaign. So wala na rin mga magagawa. And besides, Robbie, ano ngayon graduation ng K-12 graduates at saka ng ating colleges. So malaking bagay din ito. Makakadagdag din ito sa ating unemployment kapag walang bagong jobs na available for these new graduates.
All right. Speaking of not enough jobs, no? Ang underemployment rather, Sir Alan, isa pang big issue din. Actually, since college ako, lagi sinasabi na more than unemployment, this is a more prevalent problem. Do you see this also with TUCP? And is it because, or dalawang bagay yan either there's not enough work in terms of hours or you're working a job na underutilized ang inyong skills. So, anong nakikita nyo with regard to the underemployment numbers?
Sa aming observation, ang underemployment ay kombinasyon ng maraming bagay. Unang-una, mababa sahod. Ikalawa, wala silang security of tenure. Marami sa mga trabaho ngayon ay on-call, temporary, o mga endo, o end of contract at mga contractual. Talaga itong underemployment na nabilang sa kasalukuyan.
Speaking of that, yung endo, actually, Robbie, sobrang tagal na yung discussion, di ba? Pinramis yan ni dating Presidente Duterte, natatanggalin niya to, pero hindi niya ito nagawa. Let's be more realistic, Sir Alan, this administration, ano yung dapat nilang tuunan ng pansin talaga? Dapat pa ba natin gawing goal ang pag-e-end ng contractualization ng endo?
Kinakailangan talaga, part pa rin yan ng Marcos administration na i-prioritize ang pag-regularize ng mga manggagawa. Dahil kung tayo ay patuloy sa ating economic recovery, which sa aming forecast, talagang aasenso at lalago uli yung ating ekonomiya. Pero kailangan yung mga manggagawa natin ay regular para hindi sila maiwan, hindi sila glag, at kasama sila sa pag-unlad.
Paano po natin babalansahin naman ang mga interest din ng ating mga entrepreneurs? Lalong-lalo na considering na karamihan ng ating mga employers are small, medium, or even micro entrepreneurs. Sinasabi nila, kami bumabangon pa lang din. Gusto namin tumulong, pero gipit na gipit din kami para pataasin ang sweldo.
Maaari naman nilang regular yung kanilang mga manggagawa by phase. Hindi naman siguro outright na lahat i-regularize because of the situation that we have now. Maaring by phase. At saka merong mechanism dito sa Security of Tenure Bill na binito ni Pangulong Duterte. Merong feature dito na yung mga regular jobs at saka mga seasonal at non-regular jobs ay dinidetermine ng tripartite entities like labor, government, and business sector. So itong tripartite body na ito, sila yung magdidetermine kung ano yung mga jobs which are seasonal, contractual, o kailangan i-outsource. But sila rin ang didetermine kung ano yung mga trabahong mga regular at directly employed sa principal business owner. So maraming magagawa ang Marcos administration kung talagang bigyan ng pansin at bigyan ng priority yung gawing regular yung mga manggagawa para makasama yung mga manggagawa sa economic growth na the Marcos administration is trying to work out.
Okay, Mr. Tanjusay, maraming salamat po. Alan Tanjusay, a spokesperson for the TUCP.
Join us in the conversation. Our big question tonight: how should the government address growing unemployment? Share your thoughts on our Facebook and YouTube live stream or post a tweet with the hashtag #TheBigStory. We'll read some of your comments later on in the program.
After the break, we're speaking with the former chairman of the Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission, Greco Belhica, to discuss President Marcos' move to abolish the commission. Keep it here on One News, all sides, all the time.
My father built more and better roads, produced more rice than all administrations before his. President Rodrigo Roa Duterte built more and better than all the administrations succeeding my father's. Much has been built, and so well, that the economic dogma of dispersing industry to develop the least likely places has been upturned. Development was brought to them. Investors are now setting up industries along the promising routes built. And yet, the potential of this country is not exhausted. Following these giant steps, we will continue to build. I will complete on schedule the projects that have been started. I'm not interested in taking credit. I want to build on success that's already happening. We will be presenting the public with a comprehensive infrastructure plan. 6 years. I am not talking about history. I'm talking about the basics, the sciences, sharpening theoretical aptitude and imparting vocational skills, such as in the German example, alongside the national language with equal emphasis and facility in a global language, which we had and lost. Our teachers from elementary up are heroes fighting ignorance with poor paper weapons. Once we had an education system that prepared coming generations for more and better jobs. There is hope for a comeback. Vice President and soon-to-be Secretary of Education, Sara Duterte Carpio, will fit that mission to a T. What we teach in our schools, the materials used must be rethought. I am not talking about history. I'm talking about the basics, the sciences, sharpening theoretical aptitude and imparting vocational skills, such as in the German example, alongside the national language with equal emphasis and facility in a global language, which we had and lost. Our teachers from elementary up are heroes fighting ignorance with poor paper weapons. Once we had an education system that prepared coming generations for more and better jobs. There is hope for a comeback. Vice President and soon-to-be Secretary of Education,
You're watching The Big Story here on One News. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has issued his first executive order. Here's what we know. Under EO1, the Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission will be abolished. Its jurisdiction, powers, and functions will be transferred to the Office of the Deputy Executive Secretary for Legal Affairs. Marcos Jr. also abolished the Office of the Cabinet Secretary. The existing Cabinet Secretariat will be placed under the direct control and supervision of the Presidential Management Staff. But while EO1 abolished 2 offices, it also created the Office of the Presidential Advisor on Military and Police Affairs, which will be under the administration of the Office of the Special Assistant to the President.
With the abolishment of the PACC, what does this mean in terms of addressing corruption in the Philippines?
Let's discuss this some more with former Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission Chairman Greco Belgica. He joins us now live via Zoom. Good evening, Chairman Belgica, and welcome to The Big Story. Did you expect this, sir? Did you expect the PACC to be abolished under the Marcos administration?
No, we did not expect this. It came as a surprise. But you know, they're just in their 7th day of the administration and still hopeful na meron sila ibang plano at may mas maganda silang plano. Because definitely, the fight against corruption needs to be strengthened and not weakened or even abolished. Well, just to give you the PACC already came from the Deputy Executive Secretary's Office for Legal Affairs. Doon na po binunot yung trabaho at function yan. However, it was created dahil hindi po talaga matapos ng DESLA yung trabaho dahil hindi lang anti-corruption ang trabaho po ng DESLA. Lahat po ng legal issues, international, ng Pangulo, DESLA po ang sumasagot niyan dahil DESLA also acts as the lawyer of the President. That is the reason why a special commission was created to assist the President in the anti-corruption campaign because corruption really is a serious issue in our country. So sa pagbabalik po nito sa DESLA, kailangan po nilang palakasin ang DESLA, paramihin ng tao, palakihin ng jurisdiction. Kaya sinasabi ko, in fact, a law has to be created to really strengthen the anti-corruption campaign para like the Office of the Ombudsman, you can put more funds there, put a law enforcement agency there, specifically for anti-corruption. Tapos fix niyo po yung investigation process para maging mas mabilis. Imbes na prosecutorial, pwede natin gawing inquisitorial para mas mabilis. So kung ano man po ipapalit nila sa PACC, abangan na lang po natin at sana maging mas malakas.
But Mr. Belica, wasn't this precisely the criticism of the PACC from the very start? Nabanggit nyo nga po, yung DESLA, yung Office of the Deputy Executive Secretary for Legal Affairs already has this mandate. For that matter, you have the Ombudsman. For that matter, you have the Sandigan Bayan. What you're saying now is palakasin ng Ombudsman, palakasin Sandigan Bayan, palakasin lahat ng offices that already have this mandate. Wasn't that precisely the point and the criticism against the creation of the PACC from the start?
Well, marami nung nag-criticize ng ganun eh. Pero the fact is, nung makreate po ang PACC, naging record holder po ang PACC. Pinakamarami po kami nakasuhan, na-expose, na-address na corruption issues at napakulong than any other anti-corruption officer, the Office of the President. Dahil po, natutukan. Ngayon, nung mabuksan po namin, marami pang sa kapangyarihan jurisdiction. Example, we had no jurisdiction over elected officials. Ang daming reklamo sa LGUs. Sa mga low-ranking government officials, wala ho kaming enforcement power. Wala rin ho kaming pondo. In the first place, puro ho kami swelduhan lang sa PACC, our funds were all under the office of the president. So we didn't have our own funds. If we had our own funds, then we could hire more people para mapalakas ang anti-corruption campaign. We could, in fact, nag-create kami ng anti-corruption committee sa lahat po ng bureaucracy hanggang sa mga barangay. Wala hong pondo yon, all leadership and guts lang po yung ginawa ron. And then they led all the officers to build up their own anti-corruption committees to strengthen the fight against corruption.
But Mr. Belica,
we were able to live.
But Mr. Belica, only by way of assessing and looking back, no, isn't that precisely presenting its own irony? You're saying that the anti-corruption agencies need more funds. Your argument is let's create another agency. In the meantime, the existing agencies are saying, well, what about the more funds that everybody agrees we need? In fact, this is not the first time that government or a president has basically decided that commissions such as this are superfluous. There's precedent for this. In 2010, former President Noynoy Aquino was the one who also abolished the Presidential Anti-Graft Commission, essentially on the same argument, on the same movement, transferring the mandate back to ODESLA and saying, we have enough structures. If we need more funds, bring it to the existing structures who are already funded, who are already institutionalized. Why argue precisely for a new office when you're already saying the funds are spread too thin?
Exactly. Ang maganda pong malinaw na paliwanag po dyan is yung delivery po ng resulta. Gaya na po na sinabi ko, for the past 3 administration, bago pumasok po ang PACC, lahat po ng kaso na naisampa po sa Office of the President, from the last 3 administration, GMA, ERAP, GMA, hanggang po President Aquino, PACC po ang tumapos nun. Plus, yung mga pumasok pa ho na 13,000 reports and complaints sa amin na na-address namin. So ibig po sabihin, talagang naging effective ang gumawa ng isang opisina solely and focused to help the President in his mandate to fight corruption. Naging effective. However, the power was not enough to really fight corruption dun sa alam natin na kasamang local government, kasamang private institutions. So ang sinasabi ko po, ibinalik nila sa ODESLA. Okay, binalik niyo po sa ODESLA. But still, kung hindi mo nila dadagdagan ng tao, hindi nila dadagdagan ng kapangyarihan, then it will revert back to the old problem na magtatambak na naman po ang kaso dyan na hindi mariresolba, hindi maaksyonan. So, walang mapaparusahan, hindi ho titigil ang korupsyon. The last administration, hindi man ho namin na zero, pero marami pong napigilan dahil maraming natakot, tumigil, dahil natakot ma-expose, maimbestigahan, maisumbong, ma-call out ng presidente, makulong at makasuhan. If you remove that very office that was there at the forefront, then wala na pong katatakutan. So, yan lang po ang issue ko doon sa pag-aalis ng PACC. Pangalawa, of course, kawawa naman yung mga tao ko noon, they'll be all out of jobs. But that's really secondary, you know. But in the fight against corruption, similar po sa drug war, similar sa anti-terror war, sa crime war, this has to be an operation na pinalalakas at pinalalakas dahil ito po ay, this is a problem that will always confront us. Ang dapat po nating binabawasan or ini-streamline are economic and trade-related offices na nagpapahirap sa mga negosyante at naghahanap buhay, kumuha ng permit, kumuha ng clearance para makapagnegosyo. Taxes na napakaraming regulasyon. Yan po ang dapat nating i-streamline. But peace and order offices po, dapat po pinalalakas natin yan.
Yes, and to that point,
Sir, last. Kasi sir, directly related po ito sa ekonomiya. Pagka lumalakas po ang laban sa korupsyon, lumalaki rin po ang koleksyon ng gobyerno, dumadami rin po ang services na ibibigay ng gobyerno sa tao. Yan po ang resulta ng PACC. Sinabi ko ng BIR, BOC, saka Bureau of Immigration. Nung time ko po, bagamat hindi namin na zero ang korupsyon, pero bumagsak ang level ng korupsyon, na-hit nila consistently ang kanilang revenue targets and nag-record breaking sila because bumabaho talaga ang corruption or nabawasan at the minimum. So yan po ang effect niyan. And I know that the current administration is concentrated towards building a stronger economy and agricultural industry.
Okay, maraming salamat po. That was former Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission Chairman Greco Belhica. And after the break, several foreign health authorities are warning against a popular Filipino instant noodles brand due to its use of a pesticide in one of its ingredients. Find out more when the big story returns. You're still watching the big story here on One News. The Health Department clarifies there are no orders to recall Lucky Me products in the Philippines. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere says the FDA is still verifying reports that the popular instant noodle brand contains ethylene oxide, which is a kind of pesticide. But Taiwan and several European countries have taken the Pancit Canton brand off their shelves over the alleged contamination.
Aantayin po natin yung resulta ng investigasyon na sinasagawa ng Food and Drug Administration para mas maging sigurado that whatever would be affected, specifically the batches and the lot numbers for the specific products, yun po yung tinatanggal sa merkado.
In an earlier statement, Lucky Me Noodles manufacturer Mond Nissen denied that their products contain ethylene oxide. The company assured the public that all Lucky Me products comply with food and safety standards in the Philippines as well as in the United States. But there's the rub, Robbie. I think the bottom line here is that, ethylene oxide, I Googled it right away when I saw the news this morning. I panicked because, we all exist on Lucky Me. Alam mo yan, pang-Pinoy yan, lalo na yung lahat ng ayuda, especially now na wala nang hirap na yung supply ng manok, ng baka, ng baboy. It's actually used as a lot of uses, right? So, pwede siyang sa makeup. So we might actually be exposing ourselves to ethylene oxide. But I think the bottom line is different food regulators or food and drug regulators have different standards.
Yes, but yun din ang naisip ko, saan nakukuha ng carbs ko? Di ba? Ang mahal ng tinapay, mahal ng kanin, walang french fries.
Walang french fries. Tapos ngayon, pati yung Lucky Me.
But to that point, let's just stress a couple of things. Unang-una, don't panic, di ba? As DOH said, it is not being taken off the shelves here. Although, on the other side of it, don't panic also. They are looking into this. And what Mond is clarifying is this is not an additive that they are putting in. It's in the ingredients that they are also buying.
Yeah, just let's clarify. So, yun nga, it's used to preserve actually seeds, to treat seeds and all of these things, which we know comes in that little packet. Diba? We've all opened up our Lucky Me's. And it contains trace amounts. So, and it is, like you said, don't panic, it is organic because part of my research said that it is an organic compound. Yun lang, no?
But this will be a continuing story, and of course, with public health, we will continue covering this matter. For now, that's the big story tonight. For more updates, follow News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. You may also log on to onenews.ph for more in-depth analysis. I'm Robbie Alampay.
The big story is also available via Signal Play app. Make a free account now at signalplay.com and stream One News anytime, anywhere. I'm Sean Yao. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.